are listening to The Michael Lodge Show. Wealth, business, and taxes. Oh yeah, and some politics. Let's get started.
And good morning. This is Mike Lodge on the Sunday morning. I tell you, I'm looking outside, and I went outside. It was cold, 52 degrees out. And it's supposed to be summertime, right? Springtime? Well, we got a little bit of chilly weather this morning. But it was nice. I mean, it was refreshing. I opened up the door. Nice cold air hit me. Beautiful morning. Yesterday, we spent some time together, and we talked about our communication and how we communicate when we're going through a separation, a divorce, or even during a breakup. And we went through that communication process, and there were some things that we all need to work on. Even myself in communicating, there's lots of things I need to work on. But when you're going through this stressful situation of a breakup, divorce, separation, there's a lot of other things that you have to consider also in that communication process. I'm going to say something, and I really want you to focus in on the words because it means something great. It means something that we need to pay attention to. I'm going to specifically talk to individuals this morning, to you who are going through that divorce or separation. There's a statement that I use almost in every single mediation that I do when we're going through a divorce or a separation, split up. And it goes like this. Husbands and wives divorce, but families never do. What does that mean? Well, it means that you as a husband and wife or as a boyfriend, girlfriend who are separating, and you have children and other family members. When you guys go your own way, that does not mean that the family doesn't end. It means that it continues on. You still have the responsibility of those children. You're still a family. You may be split up and you may hate each other's guts, but listen, that child that you raised or raising needs you, because that child's all confused. He's not quite sure what's going on, and when he sees really bad communication skills, what do you think is going to happen to him? He's going to develop bad communication skills, not just with his family, but within school, within kindergarten, within his playmates. You're going to see things happen. So you have to realize that even though that you guys are divorcing, that doesn't mean that the family has divorced. And that doesn't mean that the family goes its own separate ways. It means that you are still a father and you are still a mother to that child. And if you don't get your act together, you're going to do damage to that child. You know, I've seen this happen so many times where the families decide to divide. But they forget about the kids that are there also. It's not just the feelings and the hate and the mistrust and the hurt and all these other emotional things that are going on in your mind as you're going through a divorce from that person that you said I love, that person that you said I do to. But there's that one child, 2 children, 3 children, how many children that you have, who are sitting there saying, what do we do? We're just kids. And we're seeing our dad and we're seeing our mom, they're fighting like hell, and they're acting like children. Gosh, sometimes I've even seen the children step in and act like the adults, and the children are the adults. They seem to have more knowledge on how to take care of these situations sometimes than the parent, the mom and the dad. I tell you, you are in the process of building separate homes, but you still are a family. And let me tell you, the moment that you start to prepare that new home for your new way of living, you had better step into that home. And before you enter that home, you better ask God, bless this home because I am going to need it. God, come into this home and provide me with the wisdom that I need. Provide me with the forgiveness that I need to give and ask for. Provide me with direction on how to raise my children and improve on my communication skills. Lord, bless this house. Because we need you here more than any other time in our life. Listen, God doesn't leave you just because you are getting a divorce. Divorce is not a sin. God doesn't like it. He wants you to stay together. But God doesn't also want you to be suffering continually and making those children suffer continually every day by fighting, by cheating on each other, by not being honest, by having bad finances. God doesn't approve of those things, but He doesn't want you to continue on in this hurtful situation. God forgives. You have got to believe this, that God forgives you for your actions, but you have got to try to do better. He always looks down on us, and He's watching us every single day, and He's seeing exactly how we move through our life and how we act as human beings. And He knows that, yes, the husband and the wife are going through a divorce, but that doesn't mean that those children are going through a divorce either. Sometimes we just don't think, right? We're these human beings, and we're selfish, and we're self-absorbed, and we are just not thinking about anybody else around us except ourselves. This whole society has become this selfish means to get through life, and we're not really thinking about other people in our lives. And we see it happening all the time. We see individuals who are hurting so badly, and they want to lash out and hurt other people at the same time. The communication ability has just fizzled to nothing. And now they have to rebuild themselves. They have to take ownership of what they've done, of what they've said. They've got to ask forgiveness, and they've got to be able to forgive. And you have to be able to move forward day after day after day. I've told this story so many times, but I keep telling it because it means so much to me, because it was a conversation that I had with a friend, and we were talking about forgiveness, and we were talking about how difficult it is to be able to forgive. And he said, listen, Mike, you're looking at this all wrong. Every single day you've got to go to God, and you've got to say, Lord, help me forgive again, because we as human beings were always thinking about something that happened in the past, somebody that hurt us, somebody that did something wrong to us. And we have to say, and we have to look up, and with everything in our heart, we have to say, Lord, help me forgive again. Because it's going to happen again and again and again, because we are these weak, emotional human beings. And God knows that. That's why He gave you the ability to look up and say, Lord, help me forgive again. It's going to happen again and again and again. And God knows it. And He said, bring everything to me in prayer, and I will help you. But sometimes we forget about that, right? Sometimes we forget about that ability that we have a spiritual connection with a God that will listen to us and will answer our prayers, will guide us, provide us with wisdom, provide us with the ability to forgive. I tell you, it's God has given us grace. I tell you, He has given us so much grace. And I think it's time that sometimes in our relationships and within our families, we have to show grace also. It's hard. This divorce thing is hard, but you have got to realize that you have made a decision. And now you have to focus on how you're going to deal with this decision. You're getting a divorce from your husband or your wife, or you are separating from the person that you loved, or you are separating from a partner that you were with for many years. But remember, this is a divorce just between you and that other person. It does not involve the children. It does not involve other family members. They have got to understand that they are still loved. They are still cared for. They are there in your life. You haven't divorced them. That continues on. That child that needs to be woken up and go to school in the morning, you didn't divorce that. That's still your responsibility. Getting them to school, getting them to soccer practice, getting them to counseling, getting them wherever you're getting them to go, that is still your responsibility. And when you're dealing with the other parent, you have to understand that that's their responsibility too. It's amazing. Sometimes I see such selfish people who deal with children in relationships and communication in such childish ways. They seem to have forgotten that they're even adults, and they begin this whole reversal of becoming a child and acting like a child and lashing out like a child and becoming a bully to the other individuals. And their children are standing there and they're sitting there and they're watching them. You think they're watching the cartoons? No, they're watching you. They're listening to you. They know everything that you are saying and doing to other people. And if you are surprised that you're getting complaints about your child being a bully at school or having problems at school, it points right back at you, because that's what they see. They see two parents fighting. They see two parents calling each other names. You know, in order to be able to move forward, all of us have to forgive. We just have to forgive. A lot of us have been dumped. Our relationships have just ended. We're going through a divorce. We're going through situations that we never thought would happen to us, but they do, because this is life. And we forget that we have to act like adults at all time, not like little children who are trying to get back at the other individual, throwing rocks across the fence, hoping it will hit something. It's amazing, isn't it? We human beings are weird people. I tell you, we are weird people. But just remember that you still have a family. And that family you've got to take care of. You may not have a husband or a wife any longer, or a spouse or a partner any longer. But you do have a family. And that family is still there, counting on you. Waiting for you to act like an adult. Waiting for you to go over to that child and say, you know what, I love you with all my heart. No matter what happens, my love for you is still strong. I tell you, God has that same love. No matter what you do, no matter what happens in life, He's still there. He's still listening. He's still watching. He's still hoping. You know, God gave us the ability of choice. He didn't say, you have to do this. No, He said, I'm making you a human being that you will be able to make choices, and hopefully you know the difference between right and wrong, and you will make the choice for right instead of wrong. And part of that right is how you treat your family, your children, during this tough time of divorce. Now, a lot of you are saying, well, I can't do it. I can't do it. I've been hurt so much. Yeah, I know. We all have been hurt. We all have been dumped, or maybe dumped. Not quite sure sometimes. A lot of you have gone through a divorce, and you've heard the stories of other people going through divorce, and you've seen how they acted. Can't take a clue of how they acted. Some people went through a divorce very nicely, very civilly, and other people were cats and dogs fighting in the street, in the back alleys. I tell you, forgiveness. If you don't start with the act of forgiveness, you're going to have the worst situation in your life. If you have contempt in your heart, you will never get anything done. So you've got to be able to grasp that you are a human being and you're an adult, and you have to act like an adult, and you have to act civilly, because eyes and ears are watching you. Divorce, I tell you, it's a tough situation. California has the highest amount of divorce in the nation. And it's a situation where it happens every single day, over and over and over and over again. That's why they have mediators like me who sit down with the individuals and go through everything and make sure that everything's treated fairly and civilly. That's what mediators do. They become the adults in some of these children's lives. And I'm not talking about the children. I'm talking about the adults that act like children. But you know what? We're so lucky. I mean, if you don't believe in God, believe this, that even a good spiritual relationship that you have, in your beliefs that you have to do good over evil, will get you a long ways. But if you're a Christian, and if you believe in God, God can get you even further during this process of divorce. Listen, pray to Him, count on Him. I told someone the other day, what you've got to do to be able to improve your prayers is that you have to do the ABCs of prayer, and that is ask, believe, and claim the promises of God, because He's giving you a lot of promises on how to make it through this life of ours. Claim that promise. Claim that promise of prayer. Claim that promise of blessing your home. Because now you have a home of your own that you have to provide care for your children. Make sure that God is in that home. Even in the Bible it says, when you enter into a door of a house, you are to say this, bless this home. That's why you see so many situations where you see, even in the Jewish faith, they put their hands on the door before they go in. That's a big deal. And it should be a big deal to you also. I know divorce is not an easy situation. I met with a couple the other day who decided that they want to get a divorce, but they want to do it fairly. I was so happy when they said that they wanted to do it fairly. And you could see I could see the pain on the wife's face, because she was confused. She didn't know what the process was going to be. She didn't know what was going to happen or anything like that. And you see that, and you just have to tell them, we are going to get through this because we're going to work together. We're not going to fight. We're not going to get into these situations where we're calling each other names. That does not solve anything. Contempt in your heart, I'm telling you again, contempt in your heart will not get you any place. You will never have success. You still have a family. You haven't divorced the family. By the grace of God, God will help you through this process. This is a Sunday, so I'm not going to do any advertisements. I'm not going to tell you on where to go to help me out and all the nonsense. But today I want you to listen to a song, and it's about grace. And it's about how we are blessed with grace and how you can also provide grace to other people. I know it seems strange, right? I'm a business guy. I do a business podcast. I do talks about mediation and divorce and separation and business mediation, all that other stuff. But today, since it's a Sunday, we're going to talk about the grace of God. Everybody go out and have a great Sunday. I'll talk with you soon. God bless.
Thank you for your grace, your amazing grace. Thank you for the way that you forgive me every day. Thank you for your grace, your amazing grace. Great is your mercy. Thank you for your grace. How could I breathe without it? How could I move without it? I couldn't live without it. Your grace, no single word without it. How could I speak without it? I wouldn't want to sing without it. Your grace, thank you for your grace, your amazing grace. Thank you for the way that you forgive me every day. Thank you for your grace, your amazing grace. Great is your mercy. Thank you for your grace. Imagine the world without it. There'd be no hope without it. No chance of peace without it. Your grace. Now that I understand it, my everything demands it. No longer take for granted the everlasting saving power of grace. I know I don't deserve. Grace that Calvary reserved for me. Oh, grace that takes my breath away. I lift my hands to worship you, so let me live to worship you.
Thank you for your grace, your amazing grace.
Your grace,
Thank you for the way that you forgive me every day.
every
Thank
day.
you for your grace, your amazing grace. Great is your mercy. Thank you for your grace.
Thank you for your grace, your amazing grace. Thank you for the way that you forgive me every day. Thank you for your grace, your amazing grace. Great is your mercy. Thank you for your grace.
Hi, this is Mike Lodge of The Michael Lodge Show. Join me on iHeartRadio and other podcast stations as we talk about wealth, business, and taxes. Oh, and some politics. Join me every day on the podcast that keeps focused on business.